everybody, I'm Sean. I'm going to show you how I made this saltwater etched detail piece for a steampunk Ghostbusters costume. Check it out. Alright guys, so today I'm going to be working on a detail piece for this steampunk Ghostbusters backpack that I'm making. So I'm going to use this little piece right here as a detail piece to hold down these gears. So as you can see, this piece isn't really looking too nice right now. It's going to be saltwater etched, and hopefully it'll look pretty good when I'm done. Here's an example of another piece that I saltwater etched on this gun for the backpack. You can see there's some detail that's actually etched down inside of there, and all I did was use some salt water and some electrodes. So let's get started. So what you'll need for this build is a piece of metal that you want to put a design on, and a resist. What I used for this resist was just some regular old enamel paint that I got from the hobby shop. And you're going to want to paint everywhere that you don't want the salt water to etch away. So anything you see here that's shiny is actually going to be eaten away, and it'll be recessed inside. So for the actual etching, all I'm using is some kosher salt that I got from the grocery store, some regular old distilled water, and a vessel to put this stuff in. I got this from the dollar store. You're also going to need some copper wire and some alligator clamps and a piece of basically metal for the other metal to attach to. And for this, I'm just using a 9-volt wall wart that I got from the Goodwill. So I'll show you how to set this all up. So the first thing you're going to want to do is connect your negative lead to this piece right here that's going to suck all the metal from the other piece. Make sure it'll drop down in the water. Okay, that's a good length. And then your piece that you actually want to etch, you'll put on the positive side. Make sure it has a good connection to the metal. You're going to want to paint all these other holes or anything you don't want to be eaten away. Go ahead and do a test and see if that drops in. Okay. Now to mix up your salt solution, there's really no science to it. You just want it to be really, really salty water. So I pour a good amount of the kosher salt in there. Fill it up with water. Put the lid on nice and tight and just give it a shake until all the salt water is dissolved. It'll be a nice cloudy consistency. And that allows the electrodes to actually do what they need to do, and it pulls the electrons through the salt water and removes from the piece you want it to etch and pulls onto your waste piece. Okay, so that's pretty cloudy now. Go ahead and drop your electrodes in there. Make sure it's covered by the water. And then you'll go ahead and plug it in. If you look real close, you can see that negative electrode is starting to bubble really good. It's a nice cloudy water, and the metal actually pulls from this side over towards the negative, and it attracts to that other piece of metal, and when you get done, you'll have a nice design. So we're going to let this go for a little while and pick it back up, and I'll show you a finished product. Okay, so we're about 10 minutes in so far. There's actually some metal forming on the top by the negative electrode. So that's actually the brass being pulled away from the other brass piece, being attracted to the negative piece. So that's a good sign. That means it's actually starting to work. Here we are 20 minutes in, and you can definitely see the metal on the top, and you can see the negative electrode is bubbling really well. So we'll give it about another 10 minutes and we'll pull it out of the water and take a look and see what we have. Okay, so it's been 30 minutes and it's bubbling really good. We're going to go ahead and pull it out and test, but since we are dealing with electricity and water, let's be very careful here. We're going to go ahead and unplug the power supply before we touch the electrodes. Okay. So pull the negative out. Go ahead and pull the positive electrode out. We'll dry the piece off. Take a look at that etching. Okay. So as you can see, your pattern is very clearly defined, and there's definitely a difference in the thickness of this metal. I'm going to go ahead and put it back in for a little while longer and go ahead and get a deeper etch on it. So I'll drop the positive in, drop that negative back in. Now that I'm clear of the water, I'll go ahead and plug in the power supply. You can see that negative is bubbling up really good now. We'll give it another 15-20 minutes and we'll pull it back out and see what we have. So after a total of 45 minutes in the salt solution, this is what we have. I'm going to take some paint thinner and go ahead and rub off that enamel paint resist. And you're actually going to be able to start seeing exactly what happened here. Start to see the actual difference between the metal where it was etched and where it's protected. Go ahead and clean this off. So with a little paint thinner and some scrubbing, finished piece. I don't know if you can tell from the video or not, but there's definitely a difference in the height of this metal. So I'll take it to the sander and clean it up, and then I'll show you the finished results. Alright, so I cleaned it up a little bit on the wire wheel. Now I'm just going to finish off the recesses with a little bit of a Sharpie, just to go ahead and make those pop a little bit. You can use enamel paint too, it's just I find a Sharpie works and it's a little easier to paint down in those cracks. I'm going pretty quick here because you can really just follow the lines of those recesses and it works out really good. So there's a difference between with and without the Sharpie. You can definitely see how that design pops. there you have it. A saltwater etched brass detail piece for Steampunk Ghostbusters backpack. So this is going to be an accent piece to hold down the gears here on the backpack. And have a bolt going through each one of the gears. And also something holding it down. Then I'll have this trim piece over top of it. Just a little something to finish it off, I guess. So here's what I have so far for a Steampunk Ghostbusters backpack for a 4-year-old. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll be doing another video on how I made this pack and the gun, all out of things I found at the by the pound Goodwill. Thank you.